Shifting focus now to West Asia, a long-awaited truce has been declared. Israel and Hezbollah have agreed to a highly anticipated ceasefire in the 14-month-old war in Lebanon. Confirming the news, US President Joe Biden has called it a historic moment. But will the deal hold is the immediate question. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu endorsed the ceasefire after his cabinet approved it, despite fierce opposition from far-right allies. In a televised address, Netanyahu vowed to enforce the agreement but warned that Israel retains complete military freedom of action. A ceasefire, yes, but peace? That's the big question. And what about the other side? Under the terms of the ceasefire, you see, over 60 days, Hezbollah will remove its fighters and weapons from the area between the Blue Line, that's the unofficial border between Lebanon and Israel, and the Litani River, about 30 kilometers to the north. Hezbollah fighters will be replaced by Lebanese army forces in that area, who will ensure that infrastructure or weaponry is removed and that it cannot be rebuilt. And over the same 60 days, Israel will also gradually withdraw its remaining forces and civilians. And this would basically enable civilians on both sides of the border to return to their homes. Importantly, for Israel, Hezbollah dropped its demand that a ceasefire in Lebanon was contingent on ending the fighting in Gaza. Very crucial. In fact, these are visuals of Lebanese nationals heading south to their homes as the Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire kicked in. This despite Israel asking Lebanese nationals to wait till the IDF withdraws fully. President Biden saying that this deal is designed to end hostilities permanently. He said, and I'm quoting now, "Peace is possible." The US, along with France and other countries, will be monitoring the agreement. Biden clarified, in fact, that there will be no American boots on the ground in Lebanon, but support, both logistically and politically, will be unwavering. French President Emmanuel Macron also applauded the deal. He called it a turning point for Lebanon, but he also warned that the shadow of war still looms over Gaza. The UK also echoing similar concerns. After all, the Israel-Hezbollah conflict was triggered by the war in Gaza, remember. And so even as this deal was finalized, even celebrated, Israeli airstrikes killed 18 people in Beirut. Critics like far-right Israeli Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir have slammed the agreement, calling it a mistake. And what about the future? What's next in the conflict in West Asia? What lies ahead for Gaza? The numerous attempts at diplomacy to strike a truce in Gaza over the past year have come to nothing essentially, except for a temporary ceasefire a year ago. Israel's war on the Palestinian enclave has so far killed about 44,300 people, displaced the majority of the population and caused widespread humanitarian crisis. On Wednesday, the Israeli Defense Forces continued the intense airstrike and ground campaigns in Gaza, particularly in the north of the devastated Palestinian territory. So dire is the situation that Gaza's civil defense vehicles, which serve emergency functions like search and rescue operations, are no longer operating in Gaza City. Why is that? Because the agency is out of fuel. And as a result, Gaza's civil defense stopped operating in northern Gaza on October 23rd. Still, some Palestinians are clinging on to the hope that a ceasefire in Lebanon could pave the way for a similar agreement in Gaza. And with just weeks left, as far as Biden's administration is concerned, will his successor, Donald Trump, honor the deal? Trump's team has reportedly been briefed. He has signaled support. But how stable is that support in a region so volatile? Netanyahu says the truce gives Israel time to focus on threats like Iran, replenish its arms, and give rest to its soldiers. But is this truly the end? And again, what happens to Gaza? Many experts say that by securing a deal in Lebanon, Israel can now focus on Gaza, treating it as a defeated and easily controllable entity in a way. The ceasefire agreement in Lebanon, which prevented further bloodshed and violence, was seen as wise by many. Remember, Hamas has expressed its willingness to cooperate with the Gaza ceasefire, but its demand includes full withdrawal of Israeli forces, return of displaced people, as well as a prisoner swap. That has been the bone of contention, remember, stopping progress in the Gaza ceasefire talks. Some in Gaza feel abandoned and fear that Israel may escalate its military operations, especially given Netanyahu's rhetoric about extending control over Gaza. Now, analysts warn that without significant international pressure, the war could drag on for months. And as Israel continues its strikes on Gaza, some worry that the ceasefire in Lebanon will isolate Gaza and give Israel more leeway to execute its plans. Will the ceasefire in Lebanon help bring peace to Gaza? Or is the situation about to escalate further? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.